I got to be the person to see the gender before the couple. So they handed me an envelope and then I opened it and then I had to choose between which flowers to hand the guy, which is Colton. So here's how the session started. And in this little envelope here is where it says baby, and then I went and opened it and saw that it was a boy. So I was so excited for them. They are the sweetest couple. One of the sweetest I've ever met. I can't say, well, probably one. Yeah, like the sweetest couple I've ever met. So I want to take you through each and every photo. I do have the raws set up here. In one of my next videos, I will take you through exactly step by step what I do as far as when I get home from a shoot and when I stick that card in my little computer slot or whatever, and then it starts up, and I will take you through exactly each step because I want it to be very clear for you guys to see what the steps are that I take. And they're very, very important because I have taken so many years to perfect this process because it really does save time in the way that you are storing your photos, you're editing your photos, not having a lot on your screen. Like I need to close out some of these because Lightroom is such a big application program that it takes up a lot of space and you don't want to take up too much time. Okay, so let's start. This was Dallas Arboretum. I want to say it was around 4 p.m. when we met up, and this was just last Friday, so I really shouldn't have to think this hard. But it was 4 p.m. last Friday. The sun was out. So the sun now is setting. We're in the springtime. The sun is setting around 6:30. But the Dallas Arboretum closes at 5. So they booked a 30-minute session with me. Of course, I wasn't gonna just do 30 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh, I love you guys. So after this moment, I opened the letter, saw that the blue flowers, which I love to pride myself in this, but I kind of have like a little bit of a gift here. I somehow know, I just knew it was a boy. And it was the same way whenever I had kids. I knew the gender before it came out. Or before everyone found out. So of course I was like, it's a boy. I totally feel like it's a boy, and it's a boy, yay. So they got all set up. And again, these are the raws. This is not what I gave them. So these are the very crooked raws, but yes, I shoot crooked. Okay. If you don't shoot crooked, bless you. You're amazing. Thankfully, the Imagen AI program straightens it for me and edits for me and does such a great job. And I will take you through that next time. I am gonna go through the raw photos this time, and then I will show you the final images this time. So we're gonna kind of skip some steps, but I want you to know what happened over here. And these are the settings. I wish I could make them bigger so that you could see them. My ISO is at 100. So it was very bright outside. I probably could have taken that up to 200, but it's kind of hard to see in that tiny little LCD screen. So I had it at 100. I was holding my 24x70 lens. They had given me a TikTok to refer back to for this scene that they wanted. So I also had my, I had a holder on top of my camera that was videoing, and I could only video this way because I turned my lens this way. So I had my phone recording, and I will show you the reel or link the reel that I'm gonna do for it once it's done. But I was videoing while this was happening. They did not know the gender. They were so excited. But anyway, spec settings, okay. 100, 45 millimeters is where my focal length was because I was zooming in and out and I wanted it to kind of look like this, similar to the reel they sent me. My f-stop on that lens, the lowest it goes is a 2.8. So I know I need to upgrade. I need to upgrade for those of you that have the Canon 24x70 that goes all the way down to like 1.2. I know, okay. I need to buy that lens because I love that lens. My shutter normally stays around about a 250. If I were to go one stop lower on the 250, it would brighten up. I think I could have brightened it up, but I trust my editor, Mr. Imagen AI, whoever you are that created AI. It does a great job, and I'm going to show you the difference soon. Okay, but that is my settings. I want to kind of quickly go through these because I don't want to take forever. They're just waiting, and he calls out 3, 2, 1, and there they go. They're so excited. I didn't want to like move in too close. So these settings are staying, okay, this whole time. I'm starting to pivot around them because I want to get more of her face, and I want to do some zooming in and out. And thankfully I had the face detector on. This took me a while to get used to, but if you have a Canon R6, they have facial detection. So I literally just had to move around and it was detecting her face and making it clear. So I am now confident in that because even though I'm moving around and I'm not the steadiest, it is giving me a very clear, let's see if I can even zoom in anymore, very crisp picture, and it will look even more crisp once I get the edit. So I knew it was doing a great job. I'm kind of stepping back, there's people behind, so I'm trying to kind of like block out that person with their bodies. And the settings are staying the same throughout this whole time. Okay, and I took like a bajillion. She's like, you knew, how did you know? I'm like, I know, I just knew. Okay, but I love these two. They were one of our first bride and grooms to book us in 2020, and they blessed us, and we shot at Barnet Paradise, and they're the sweetest. They've come back to me for pictures, and that's what I love about just watching our couples grow. They actually modeled for us in our course, so if you ever purchase our course, you're going to see them, and we go through pictures of them. Okay, so very important. I went from this side, which the sun was coming over here on the right. That's the right light. But I didn't want to interrupt them too much in this moment. So I wanted to kind of go around them physically and let them hug and just be in the moment. The problem was when I moved over, we've got spotty light, which is one you got to look out for. So I'm pretty sure I still kept the settings the same here. It wasn't terrible, a little spotty on her, a little bit of brightness. Obviously I didn't mean to originally put them there, but now we've got some problems as I'm going through, but of course I don't want to interrupt them. They're hugging. Oh, that one's really crisp. I must have sat still for a second because I'm like doing circles around them. But this is why I didn't put them in this light originally, because we've got hot spots and we don't want to like take our time and Photoshop and Lightroom, which is really annoying to try to remove all those spots. So I don't normally put them in spotty light, but luckily she was moving around and in and out. She's like, I'm so happy. But look at this. Her shock. Does she not look like Faith Hill to you? Y'all, she reminds me of Faith Hill. I love you, Olivia. You're so sweet. Just beautiful on the inside and out. And he, of course, is handsome. But again, hot spots here. So even with hot spots, I'm taking it. I don't love these hot spots, and I'm probably still going to give it to them because I know Imagen AI is going to do a great job of evening it. And it's not bad. It's not terrible. It's not like spot because the lighting is getting softer and softer in the afternoon, but I'm not going to back them out of this moment. Okay. This is raw emotion. They're super in love, super happy about their baby. I'm not gonna be like, excuse me, as the photographer, can you scoot over here and do that same thing? Maybe later, let them finish the hug. I'm gonna get everything that's happening. Okay. So I'm really wanting to capture Dad's face here because he's excited. I got a lot of her expression and I wanted to get some of his. Okay, so now we moved on to the posed portion. I loved the background. I think there's still a little spotty light, but it wasn't terrible. I kind of kept moving them a little bit back. Do you see the ground here? So my thought process was backdrop, okay? And I know I'm a fan of the clean backdrops. I don't really like a lot of noise like this, but if you've watched some of our last videos on composition, we talk about framing, and this was a great frame. We have a little bit of layering here, so I'm using all of those tools, but we have spotty light on the ground. As long as they didn't step like here, they wouldn't get it on their foreheads or the top of their heads. So I kept kind of backing them up a little bit. And sometimes I'll just be like, move your chin back a little to get the light off of them. And you might see some here, but this was one of the poses that they asked for, or that they sent me the reel. So I definitely loved that. A little cute, hide the eyes pose. I love it. Okay. So sorry, I'm gonna back up a little bit. Let me back up. Starting from here. Okay, so this is the last of that. I began the posing portion of this session and I went ahead and switched lenses. I'm on the 85, so I don't know if you can see, this was at 70 mil. This is a different lens. This is the 24 by 70. Okay, so here's the difference, people. We have a good, like pretty blended, blurry background, but when you change to the 85, whoo, this is the lowest it goes for f-stop. F-stop is that blurry background. Switch to the 85. 1.4 is the lowest it goes. I would have never done this in the past, but R6 is amazing. It gets everything crisp. As long as I'm not like super close to them, I'm not gonna get a blurry eye, or as long as my client isn't too far back or too far forward, and they're both on the same like line, basically, focal length, focal point on that same line. Basically, if you drew a line on the ground and they're both standing on that line, they're gonna be crisp. Anything behind slightly is gonna be a little blurred out. Anything in front is gonna be slightly blurred out. And I'm gonna zoom in and show you that. He is clear. I might've been moving. They're not that clear. She is slightly not clear because she is behind him. In the next photo, let me keep going. In the next photo, there we go. I zoom in a little bit more. It's okay that she is a hair blurrier, and this is the 1.4 talking because he's super crisp. Anything in front here, because they're not on that same line, is gonna be a little blurry. Anything behind is gonna be slightly blurry. Now, if her nose was in the same spot as his nose, she'd be super crisp. But that's okay. The focus was on him and she's slightly behind, and honestly, from far away, it looks fine. So, and I know that once the edits come in, that's going to also make everything more crisp, because on the profile that I created, it is preset to clarify a little bit more of these pictures. And the R630 does a great job of, and the 85 does a great job of getting my subjects clean and clear. But also Lightroom has the ability to, and I'll just show you real quick. If you head down to the develop module, you can add texture, you can lower this, and you can up the clarity. I don't go too high on the clarity because, let's just show you, it just doesn't look good. And I'll show you once I get to the final edits as well. This is not all set up because I don't have a preset on it, but once I take you to the final images, you're gonna see the difference, okay? Sharpening. So it already automatically sharpens it, but I believe that my preset sharpens it a little bit more. You don't wanna go too crazy because you don't want it to look fake, or you don't wanna, I don't know, you don't want it to look plastic. So that is that. Let's keep going for a little bit longer, and then I will go ahead and take you to, I was gonna say, why did it turn blue just then? I don't remember doing that. Okay, back to the settings. We're still at ISO 100. Again, I could have taken that up, but I don't wanna go too bright because I know that I'll do a good job of doing that later. I think I could have come down on the shutter speed, but I wanna say maybe it was too bright out there in my LCD. I don't remember exactly, but I probably was playing with it before I took any pictures and it probably looked too bright. That's why I went higher, because the higher you go on your shutter, the darker your image is at. And since my ISO is at the lowest point, 100, it doesn't go any lower than that, unless you have some sort of extra step on your camera. Mine only goes down to a ISO 100, or it switches to like an auto ISO 100. I don't want that because I don't want it automatically choosing for me. So I went ahead and changed it to go higher on the shutter. As far as Kelvin goes, it looks like I was at 5950. So pretty warm and pretty green. I usually expo. I don't know if I expoed this because it's pretty green. But she said she wanted a lot of grain. So it probably just looked really good in my camera. So we went through a few more poses. I kept this at an f-stop of 1.4, keeping the aperture nice and wide and open, which means I've got a lot of foreground blur, a lot of background blur. I've got some framing here. I did put them in this pose. I always tell them to do something with the feet. Just do something with your feet, okay? And do something with your arms. But very cute picture. I've got some good blur. Okay, so now they had picked out another spot. We went to a different location. We go to this spot over here. The sun is on them. So I think I turned the Kelvin down, even though it's saying the temperature is higher. Let's see this, 5950. No, I kept it the same. Maybe I turn it down later. I did change the f-stop to a 3.2. I'm thinking that was an accident. Unless I switched lenses. No, I'm still at the 85. Let me go through, see why. Why is this? Maybe I just wanted it to be darker, and I already had this at 1/640. I could have gone higher on the shutter speed, but it looks like I was just like, we'll go higher on the f-stop. I don't know why I did that. Normally, you probably shouldn't do that because you still want a very blurry background, unless she had asked. She may have asked to make the trees, like she really wanted those tree pictures in the back, so maybe I was trying to get a little bit more clarity on that. But normal me would have kept this at a 1.4. I think I was just in the middle of talking and I didn't want to go too high, but you can go higher on your shutter. I prefer to go higher on the shutter normally. A little bit of spotty light on them, and I think I told them that it was probably better if we moved. After that, sometimes you're just in the middle of a session and it's trial and error, but there was a lot of people behind them. There's some shadows on her face as well, which I'm not a fan of, even though I think I kept this picture and turned it black and white, so it's fine. Still to 3.2. I think I had to Photoshop out, I don't go to Photoshop, sorry. Lightroom spot removal out this person, but I still loved that pose. They also wanted to show the baby, oh baby, so I felt like it was a little too bright where we were, and I wanted that to stand out, even though that actually looks good. That actually looks edited. So we moved over to a different spot over here. So it's a little bit more open, although it was darker, the shade was heavier, and I could have gone higher. I could have gone higher on the brightness by turning my f-stop lower. So I should have gone back to a 1.4. I'm not really sure why I didn't do that yet, but normally I would have, if I had time to think through things, but I was probably busy jabbering. Go down on the f-stop, go back down to a 1.4. It's gonna brighten up the picture. Still the 85. I could have also gone down on the f-stop. Let's see if I did that. I don't think I did. Okay, I don't think I did, because that is the raw photo. Okay, I stayed there. Not sure why. Then we moved over to a bench. It was brighter. Looks like I stayed. I don't think I meant to do that. I don't know why I was at a 3.2. I love the bokeh. I usually love the 85 because of the lower f-stop, and I don't think I realized it until later in the session that I was at a 3.2. Let's see when I finally notice it, because it may have been this last pose. Nope, I went the whole time with it at a 3.2. That's hilarious. Look at all these people behind them ruining my pose. It's okay. I think it started out really well. Yes, it started out well because I was planning on getting this here, and then I started shifting around, but I wanted to see this. Oh baby, so cute. They posted them. They turned out great. So anyways, it looks like I went back down to a 1/250, which brought some brightness in because we're covered in trees. So at least I was consistent the whole time, you know, as far as like colors go. Looks pretty consistent. All right, so that was the end of the session, and it looks like I kept it there the whole time. Let me take you through, after bringing it into Imagen AI, I want to show you the catalog. So I'm going to relaunch this for a second. here are the final edits, which are amazing. This one's a little bright, I ain't gonna lie. But here is what my profile did. Is it a little bright? Yes, it's a little bright. And I think I ended up bringing these down, but I could have mostly kept it this way. And look how crisp it looks. So in the develop module, I'm gonna show you the settings. This is, I didn't have to do this. Imagen AI did this for me on every single photo. Amazing. I did crop this picture, I think. Oh yeah, here we go. And how I did that is I created a virtual copy, which you would just right click, create virtual copy, and then boom, you have your virtual copy. Made a few virtual copies of this one because I wanted to play with the edits and the crops, because this was such a great shot and it was so crisp. Here's another one zoomed in. If you fit it, that's the fit. So I know you guys saw the original pictures and they looked very dark, heavy, green. Here is the settings, okay? I'm gonna go back and show you the raw. Let's see if I can. I think I have to go to library. Okay, so there's the edit. Oh, come on. Maybe I have to go to the original, like that's the copy. Here we go. All right, so I zoomed in on this. Let's see if it lets me do the copy. No, why not? I mean, they edited it for me and now they're not letting me see the before. Why can't I see the before, please? Let's see if I can figure that out. Well, previous. So, I mean, most of the time it lets me do the before, but it's not letting me this time. Oh, maybe because that is a copy as well. Let's do one of these originals. I love her face. That's when she first saw it. No, it's not. It's gonna be mean to me today and not let me see any of the originals. Why? Hold on. Oh, didn't that turn out so good? And then I can't see the before. Usually it's one of these back arrows, but it just brings me back, even in library. Let's try it and develop. There we go. Okay, now it's working. Sorry about that. I think it has to be an original photo, not a copy, not one of 3. It has to be the original photo and then the backslash on your keyboard, and you have to be in the develop module to get it to do the before, and there's the after. Sorry about that. Okay, so there's the before and there's the after. So even though there's a little bit of light on her, she's gonna hate me because but look at her sweet face. And there's the after. So everything looks flawless, right? Okay, so I'm gonna take you through, let's do this one. Okay, well, let me do the before. No, that's because it's a virtual copy. Now we know. Now we know. Okay, but that's okay. So 4803 is the temperature. It cooled it down to. Again, I didn't even have to barely touch these. This was Imagen AI after all the 3,000 of edits that I have given Imagen AI, and after me sending final edits to Imagen AI. So I've sent final ones. They have developed like almost flawless pictures for me. I did have to go down on the blue, which I'll show you how to, because I really wanted them to be able to see. I wanted everybody to be able to see that these were blue. Again, this, this is still the 24x70. Normally the 85 does this, but the reason why this looks so clean and clear is because not only did I take the photo on purpose to make sure it was clean and clear, but it cooled it down, which made it nice and clean. Whereas before it was really heavy and green. I'll take you back to the original. Let's just go back, and it's loading. It's coming. There we go. Okay. There's the original, and there is a person there that I deleted. Look how heavy and green that was. So the reason why it looks much more professional is because this came down, and the magenta is a 5. We have exposure down, which doesn't make sense. Oh, because we did shadows all the way up. Highlights are down, whites are down, low 68. The blacks are almost up. I customized my preset. I feel like you guys will ask this question. I customized my preset in the beginning through a company called Shoot.edit. They helped me get my whites really bright. So that helps me develop my preset even before Imagen AI. My greens and my yellow inspiration, I did buy a Lauren Fair preset. I hated them, to be honest. Sorry, Lauren. She's a phenomenal photographer. They did not look good over my preset. So, but they inspired me to kind of up my blacks a little. So they were a little brighter. This is probably a little too bright for some of you. I like them really bright. But anyways, yeah, presets are hit and miss sometimes. So I like to take bits and pieces of them and see what other people did. I did not use anything else from her except for just upping the blacks a little bit. And I think maybe some of her greens inspired me, but my greens still are not. It's like my photo's just like blue. So to fix that blue, I had this set differently, but you can go up on the saturation. Just be careful because their whites are also affected. So I try not to go too crazy, but luminosity as well, you can pull that down. If you go way down, it's like really blue. But yeah, anyway, this got really long. So we're at almost 30 minutes. Okay, so I made a really long video. But here's the final images. Some of them I wanted to crop in, and some of them I turned black and white, but overall I was obsessed. They were obsessed. I'm gonna go ahead and show you my yellows. You saw the original, right? Very, very green and heavy. Pulling down the yellows is really, really helpful, and then pulling up the luminosity, and then you can play with these as well, but I keep mine around 7. And then the oranges as well, because I'm using, I am using camera landscape profile. If you go to your profiles, this is really helpful if you have an R6 or a mirrorless camera. It looked really muddy before I used profiles. So I learned how to use profiles, and I'm obsessed with the landscape. I just love it. Okay, there's other ones in here that help bring out the kind of color match. If you go to color camera matching, they kind of match your camera. There's other ones in here as well under Adobe RAWs. I don't like any of these as much, and you can see why. It just looks very gross. So I go to camera matching. I like all of these, really, to be honest, but the one that always stands out, I do like camera standard. It's always a battle between camera standard and landscape. Jason loves camera standard, and I see why. It looks really good, but I am obsessed with these bright colors. I can't change my mind. I don't know why. Portrait is also runner-up. So play with these color profiles, but for some reason, camera landscape has the orangest. If you watch any of my other videos, they're so orange. They make their skin look so orange. My only complaint is the oranges. So what I do is I come over here in the color mixer and I pull orange down, way down, maybe a little too much, but you can go crazy if you want with the luminosity. I usually just keep mine around about a 10, and I bring this orange way down, and I also bring the yellows up and the oranges down. So that is my session with Colton and Olivia. They turned out so good. Some of them, again, a little too orange, and I think I went ahead and fixed a lot of these. If you want to come down, you can desaturate cool down. Like there's a lot you can do, brighten up the photos, but I think they turned out lovely, okay? And I'll even show you, remember I was telling you about the spotty light and how Imagen AI really just makes everything look flawless. So even though we pivoted, is that a word? Pivoted over, I pivoted over the other side, and I have a second shooter with me. I don't know why I said we. So there's the spotty light. It's loading, so I know it looks blurry right now. There we go. There's a spotty light. It's a little orange. I could bring down the oranges. If you wanted to just bring down the face, there's a way to do that here, and this guy right here is the, what is this called? Not mask. Is it a mask? Masking. It's a mask. So you would say select people. It's going to detect faces. Now, this one really doesn't bother me, but if for some reason just the face was like way orange or way too dark and the rest of the picture was great, you can select that one person and hit facial skin if you want to do body skin as well. Create mask and it makes them look like some kind of alien. But then you can just play with this, and I don't want to go too crazy because I don't want to look like a weird ghost. But you can just go up, or you can play with shadows, turn her up a little bit. If she's too orange, I can go down on the blue or the saturation. So that is that. Again, 85mm people, amazing. But those are my settings. If you want to click out of this, you can go back to this slider thing, and here's all the settings if you want to screenshot it. Tone curve, let's see if I can expand this for you. No? Okay. I just keep it like this. I don't even touch it. But you can if you wanted to go up. It just has some shadows. Or if you want to play with the RGB, all these different colors, which is red, green, blues. I don't touch those though. It messes it up, and it makes it wonky. I normally don't even need to touch them very much because of what Imagen AI does. So there's the sharpening. I remove the chromatic arboretum. I enable profile corrections because I like bright and airy, but if you like this, more of a shadow on the edges, then do that. I just like mine to be flattened out and bright, but I don't touch these at all down here, and that's it. And that's it, guys. So I hope this was helpful. If you wanted to do like a black and white, you would again copy that, bring down the saturation, and there's really not a lot you have to do. Sometimes I go up on the shadows to make it a little brighter, but I hope this was helpful. I know I talked a lot, but that is the behind the scenes of me walking you through some of my thought processes, lighting, camera settings, and hope you've enjoyed this. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, and go ahead and sign up for our webinar we've got coming up May 22nd. We're going to go through a lot more like this. All right, talk soon.